Okay. Let's bring us over a little bit more and a bit more up like that. All right. Haven't been live in a while, but let's do this. So today I'm going to be working on just some audiovisual art in Touchdesigner, some generative stuff, some real-time stuff, that kind of stuff. But first of all, let me just see if I can change my thumbnail from... I've got two computers running, and I want to see if I can change my thumbnail from the other computer. So if I go live, does it show my live that I'm already live in? Yeah, we are. Yeah, perfect. Okay. So I've got this little point cloud thing that I've got happening here. I've been working on this for a while. If you've been in Ibiza, you might have seen it in an Afterlife show, if you've been there. But yeah, it's sort of this like garden. The one I did for Afterlife was a little bit different because it has this point cloud and then another version of the point cloud on top of it. But this version has just the one point cloud, and then we go in and like I've got a generative camera that sort of flies through it, and a few different things that happen. I can show you one other thing that happens. So I'm going to be designing this into a sort of audio reactive and generative artwork. So you've got it as it currently is, which is sort of cool, but we can make it a lot cooler. So if you see me looking off to the side, it's because I've got another screen over there. But yeah, let's just jump into it and get started. I still have to do a little bit of work on the camera because you'll see sometimes it makes really sharp movements, sharp turns and stuff, which I don't want. And, oh, actually, I've got another thing that I need to do, which is switch this. My old camera mode was based on like rotation of... So there was one camera with rotation, and then my new mode has well, not two cameras, but one camera and then one point that I'm animating that it's looking at. So we're in the camera out here. So this out one is the camera's position in XYZ space, and this out two is the center of it. So I want to check one thing real quick. If I can maybe drop down. Actually, there's an easier way to do this. Maybe there's not. Let's do it with the movie file out. I want to take a screenshot of this and set it as my thumbnail because I think it's going to be a more exciting thumbnail. So we go to image, JPEG. I don't know if this is going to be too high resolution. Just record that. Then I'm going to see if I can change my thumbnail while I'm streaming to this. So far, so good. Where am I going? What did I even call this? What's the path? It's just called flower bed. I always forget what I name things. Flower bed. Oh, it's got to be 2 megabytes. All right, I got to put in a resolution here. Go down to half. I might do that again, just like that. just under 2 megabytes. That's what's up. All right, save that. Cool. All right, let's get to work on some of this. Oh, it's gone right through. See, it's going to do a flick right here, and this is, oh, maybe it's not. All right. That's not bad, actually. I don't really mind it going black as long as it comes back real quick. It's just taking a long time to come. Why is it taking so long to come back? That's heaps annoying. It should, yeah. There should be like a threshold outside of which it should start to point back to the center. So I think like the way the camera is moving still needs a lot of work, but it's all right for now. I'm going to start by, we got to design a new camera mode. So let me leave this up here. And since the old camera system, I have this old mode programmed where it switches. This is a really old analyze rotate. Hello, Ruben. Thank you for joining us. So this switch does not need this. We're going to need 2 switches now. The new camera system has... See, like, I don't want it doing fast movements like that. That's what I'm against. But anyway, so I'm going to design a new camera mode right now because I have certain still moments that I want to have. So we've got the moving camera, and then we needed to have it switch between the moving camera and then like a still camera. And yeah, we're gonna, might get rid of that filter. Oh, this is gonna be difficult. No, we're not gonna get rid of that filter. Put that filter there. But we're just gonna switch it to the static camera, and I need another one of these. Actually, this constant, I don't need these extra channels. It's from the old modes. And I have this center point that I'm targeting in this other camera system. Just need to grab where that is. This 0TX 8TY 7.9TZ. So this will all become clear in a second. If we put this in here, and then switch around the inputs, and switch this input too. Okay, so now this is the static view that I wanted to switch to. So we might look into having a smooth way to switch between these 2 modes. So these filters, really useful for making, obviously, smooth motions between modes, but I don't want them filtering constantly. So what I'm going to do, this is a 10-second filter. So I'm going to put one of these in each of these channels, and then so I'm putting a filter in each of these channels so that we can smoothly switch between different views. So this is like one of the views of the installation, the flower bed, point cloud, whatever you want to call it. And this switch 1 and switch 2 obviously control which of the camera movement options are being used. So I want to have a constant, and this constant is going to define, we're going to call this camera underscore mode. This is going to define what camera mode we're in. So right now we're in camera mode. Let's put this back to 2. Actually, I think 1. Yeah. So our default camera mode is going to be the moving camera mode. And then we're going to switch between that. But what I want is I want these filters to be active when the modes are switching over, so you get a smooth transition between the two modes. But I don't want them to be active constantly, otherwise they're going to filter the incoming camera movements. So the way we do that is let's put in a logic. And so this logic, I'm going to change it to on when value changed. So now there's going to be a little flash every time I change this value. 1, 0, just like that. So if we're flashing each time it changes, 1, 0, we need to put a trigger after here. Hey, Lucas. Yeah, camera movement. You've been discussing camera movement today. Awesome. Yeah, camera movement is actually really difficult. Getting generative camera moves. I've already built one of the main camera movement thing for this, which is like a sort of flying camera. But obviously the issue is that you can't have the camera flying, so it points away from the subject. So you got to have like a smooth camera movement that can sort of go everywhere generatively, but then doesn't point at nothing. So I've sort of sorted that one out with, honestly, a little bit of help from ChatGPT. I had to have like 2 points. Like if you imagine there's the camera and then there's the look at. So the camera's always looking at this second point. And so that's how you get the camera movement. But then if they get too close, the camera does these big whips as the look at point moves past close. So I had to find an algorithm that made the look at point stay a certain distance from the camera point. And I could not have done that without ChatGPT. But let's just this is a little easier what I'm going to do right now. We're just going to make... Hey, yeah, I know. It's been a while since I've streamed. I'm sorry about that. I'm trying to stream a lot more. I just got a lot. It's just been busy. All right. Okay, so now every time I change this constant, we're going to have this trigger go for 10 seconds, which should be the length of this filter. And so the filter should only come on when I switch camera views. So I want to put in a null at the end, and then like a math. I'm just going to use this math to invert from 0 to 1 to 1 to 0, because that's how the reset works. And then this is going to go to the reset of both these filters. Okay. So now, and then obviously this has got to go. We're going to add another null, because I got to export this camera mode switch to the switch as well. So chop reference. Okay, so now hopefully if I've gotten all my timings right, when I change this to a 0, it's going to move smoothly to the moving camera over 10 seconds. So let's try this. And that did not work at all. It's because these switches beat the filter. So what we're going to do, I hate doing this because it always scares me, but I'm going to put in like a frame delay. It's going to be like 1 frame. Say 2 frames. Okay, so let's try this again. This is the moving camera. which I'm pretty happy with. Like it gives a good view of the point cloud and everything. Now, when I hit this, change this to 1, the filter should engage, and then the switch happens. So if I hit this, yeah, all right, so now we've got this smooth movement. All the way back to the static view. But my slight issue here is this filter is set to box, which basically box is like drawing a straight diagonal line between the 2 points, which I don't quite like. So I'm going to change this to Gaussian, so we don't have that like sharp deceleration. It's going to decelerate like a bit slower. So let's try that again. And I might need to make it longer, so let's just try this. All right, that was pretty good, but there was just a slight little jitter at the end, which is really annoying, but I think I'm going to have to put in I don't want to put in a filter, but actually I think I'm going to have to. I'll put in a second filter. Whoa. I honestly don't know why it's doing that. That's crazy. So I'm clearly not going to put in a second filter. All right, let's try that again. Let's try if we go to camera mode 1. It's not quite the smoothest on the start. But it's sort of fine. All right, let's try it. We could make it slightly longer if I make this filter width like 12 seconds. Do I maybe want to... all right, let's try something. I've never tried doing this. But if I make this 12, make this 12, and this is 10 seconds. But then we add a 2-second decay. So it's going to take it back down to 0 over 2 seconds. Then we put in a math. So I'm going to try like fading the filter out, like making the filter difference fade out. So range 0 to 1 is what our trigger goes to, and we're going to go 0 to 12. Throw down another null. And so I want to fade this filter width out. So I'm going to export this to the filter width. Let's try this now. This might be a disaster, but that's fine. So we're going into our moving camera, and this the ending part of the moving camera is... All right, see, I hated that. Why did that happen? Does it happen in both directions? It's just when it moves to the moving camera, because obviously the filter is filtering. Let's go 0 to 1. 1 to 12. The filter width is the filter width has got to be less. So let's go 1 to 10. And then the peak length of this can be 12. No, 10. All right, let's try that. All right. So I'm going into our movement mode. This is a giant jump. All right, we're going to do this a different way. 2 triggers. We need 2 triggers. One of these triggers is going to be controlling just, we don't need this math anymore. Because I'm just going to make this trigger. All right, the peak length is going to be 10 seconds. The peak level is going to be 10 seconds. And the decay length is going to be, let's make this even longer, like 3 seconds. So we've got 3 seconds plus 10 seconds is 13. Let's go to 14 seconds on here. So the filter gets deactivated after 14 seconds. I love it when it gets down into the bottom here, by the way. It's like so cool. You can see the floor of the flower bed. Super cool. So let's try this now. There's no problem going back. So if we go back, just zooms out. And there's no big bang at the end, which is the prop. Whoa, what was that? Oh, this has got a decay on it. We don't need that. Okay, so let's try this again. Into the movement mode. Okay, clearly my idea with the filter width is not gonna be it. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. Keep it at 12. This trigger goes for 14 seconds. We can change that to like 13 or something. And then we just do it the way that I didn't really want to do it. Oh yeah, but it didn't work when I did it that way, didn't it? Because I wanted to add a filter in here. You get this really weird effect. I don't know why it's doing that. What happens if we change it to box? Nope, nothing good. All right, let me just see if I can live with that little difference. If not, I'm going to have to find a way of like crossfading between the two. Or I could pause at the spot. All right, well, we're just going to have to live with that little jump for now. That's fine. All right, so I'm going to show you why I wanted to have this static camera mode, because the static camera mode has this really cool thing. So now we're in the static mode, right? I'm going to show you. So this is a static view. And then I've got this transition here. We'll put this large. No, it's jittering because the filter is like a 12-second filter, and it's filtering the position coming in from the moving camera. And then when you turn the filter, so I was using the filter to get the transition smooth, but it's also filtering the moving camera coming in. So when I disable the filter, it jumps because there's the incoming values are delayed a bit. Yeah, because I am filtering them both. So this is like a cool little Monet-esque mode that I built. And this is why I need these static positions, because then I can turn the whole point cloud into this crazy like Monet looking thing. So that's the transition in. You get this cool like effect. So these are the points creating the color data, and then like adding it into this whole feedback loop thing. And then we could transition out of that by moving this. Then the point cloud starts like appearing over the back of the thing. It's all based on depth, using a depth function from the camera to make this work. And then it should get rid of the background in a little bit. Oh no, it's still fading out. There. I've got to make that fade out slower. So this math transition. We just need it fading out a little before the end of the feedback loop. So how am I going to do this? Okay. Gonna take a limit. This is it coming in. So I think I'm gonna need like 0 to 0. Gonna limit this from 0 to 0.2. Nice salad. Yeah, it does look a bit like a salad. It is color grading it to make it sure it looked like a nice salad. All right. So now we're going to put in a math. And to get this little fade out at the end, we go 0 to 0.2. we're going to be mapping this to this level. It's going to be 0.9996. And let's say, I don't know, 0.6. Maybe even more, 0.5. No, not less, more, 7.5. Let's try that. Okay, so we're looking for the fade out at the end. We can 60 seconds is fine. All right, so transition to 0. So as this feedback loop like comes out, what I want to see is the feedback fading away instead of flicking itself straight to off. I also really like this kind of purple color that comes out in the end. It's nice. Oh, I didn't export this, Jesus. Quickly, before it happens. There we are. So, all right, so that goes out way too fast. We could have it like 0.95 or something. Try that again. Get the transition in. I don't know if you can see it very well, but it starts really slowly in the background here. You can just see these little bits of feedback coming through before it starts like filling up these areas. I don't know where my phone is, but I was going to post on Instagram about this, but I guess I'm not now because I have no clue where my phone is. All right, so we're all the way out here. That's nice. Now let's do the fade out. Put this back down to 0. And so we're looking for this transition to come out nice and smooth. I think I'm going to put it even higher, actually. Like 9.8. Let's see how that does. Because once you get to these feedback loops that last a long time, you're using like a lot of decimal points. So like the difference between 0.999 and 0.99 is like a lot. All right, so now here comes our fade out. That was pretty smooth. I don't know if there's more points to still come out. Maybe we change this to 0.1. I'm just going to cheat this, pulse the filter. But let it build up a little bit. Though it does look different when I just jump straight into this mode. It doesn't like build up as much. I guess it'll build up if I just leave it for a bit. I guess it didn't really help us do that. right, that should be enough. Transition out. This doesn't help us at all. I'm just going to assume that it's good. We can come back and change it later. But I'm going to grab this transition guy here. Or actually, no, we will be able to see up here. That was a good smooth out. All right, so that's going to be one of the main positions. So let's just go back into our camera control. And let's hide this kind of stuff down here. I'm going to put these two constants. We'll go collapse selected. I don't really like, wait, how do I swap the operation order? I can't. Oh yeah, connect order. This is going to be 0 and this is going to be 1. I should have fixed that. Yeah, nice clean wires. All right, so I'm going to call this, let's just call it views. Actually, cam underscore movement. Static views. So we've got our first static view. That's this one. I hate it when I accidentally resize these. So I'm going to make a new static view because that's a cool view, but we've got to put in some switches, 2 switches. There and there. Put these in. Thank you, Simon. I appreciate you tuning in. Okay. So now this is like a little difficult because like I'll show you. So when I move these, I can move the camera, right? But then it all depends on where we're looking at. So I'm going to make a view because there's this really cool shape up in this top corner here of these like tree looking things. But see these things right here. This tree looking thing. This didn't turn out to be too difficult. I was like, oh, it's going to be super difficult. All right, let's move it out a bit. Because I want multiple angles to do this bleeding through kind of thing. So this one's going to be focused on this tree. Then I'm going to test them. So I like this angle. The only issue is there's all this black space. So Wonder if I pull my TZ back a little bit like that. We go down a little. I'm just trying to fill up that space. Back on the... And then I can start, so this second one does the look at, so where the camera's looking. So if I pull down the Y for this, I don't want to cut off these leaves up here too much. It's just so much space like that. Wonder if I go down, if we go down here. I just like this tree. All right, let's just try it like this. Get the whole tree in it and see. So if I hit my transition, 0 to 1, should start from the background, start pulling it into the feedback loop. I think this one will take a little longer. All right, so yeah, you can see it here. Go full screen. This looks really nice coming through behind here. This looks really cool. This is interesting, but I'm not sure it really stacks up without, because there's just so much black space in the image. Like, I like how much this tree moves and like adds like these little rippley effects are really cool. But my issue is that I feel like the tree, the black space is just too much black space. All right, we'll leave it for now and try a different view. Let's just check that out, transition. But I think like views where, oh, that looks really good in the transition though. That was really nice. Because the white of these leaves adds a really like nice kind of look to things. I wonder if we go like more of a top-down view and really fill the screen with this tree. Gonna copy these. Just chuck them somewhere else in case I lose them. But let's go higher. And then back, no, I actually want to go lower, I think. And I want to go across. Then I want to go down. And across. Yeah, I can understand liking the black. I just don't think that I do, so. Let's take it back, and then with the look at, if we can bring this. Wonder what something like this looks at like. Hi, Glory. How you doing? We're just working on a little point cloud meets Monet thing. How did I learn Touchdesigner? I just lots of tutorials, lots of yeah, looking at there were lots of I learned Touchdesigner a while ago where like Matthew Reagan's tutorials were like the best thing, and yeah, I just spent a long time looking through all of them and then slowly updated my information, and I spent a long time like developing my own aesthetic in it, which I think is really important. So yeah, it took me about 2 years, if you were wondering, to get sort of competent. And operator snippets are very useful. Okay, because so don't you think this results in a much better looking image than the other one without all the black in it? And you still get this, I like this bit with the yellows here. That's really cool. Are you just starting it? Yeah. I mean, I think it's a lot easier these days to start it because there are just like so many more tutorials than there used to be. I feel like there isn't enough feedback. See, like this looks great. I think this view is far better than the one with all the black in it. Oh, all right. Why is that? Oh, we were just working on some camera movement. All right. Oh, all right. Yeah, I messed up here. This is what it should look like. That's better. Yeah. This is how I wanted it to look. I mean, maybe there could be a little bit of fluctuation in how much feedback we have. Thank you, Lucas. But yeah, this is what it's supposed to look like. And this view is exactly what I want. Now it looks like an ocean or something. Or like, yeah. Okay, Glory. So we were doing camera movement just before. I'll probably come back to it. But the camera movement for this one is pretty simple. You've got one camera where I'm defining the XYZ position, sorry, and then another point which is the point that camera looks at. So that's how I direct the vision using that lookout point. Right now I'm just getting some different views that I can switch between. So programming in the lookup and then the camera position and then the lookup for each of these views. Yeah. All right. So this is looking a lot. This is a really good viewpoint. I like this. So I think we're gonna move on to the next one. So this is the transition out. Just checking that it looks good, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna be good to move on to the next bit. Okay, now what I'm looking for is this purple to fade out pretty slowly at the end. I don't want it all to go out too fast. Damn, it's long. All right, yeah, see, that's nice. It's a good slow fade out, and then we're like back to the garden. So that's perfect. I mean, thanks for joining, Lucas. I'm glad it's calming you, sending you to sleep. All right, let's do another view. Okay, so this switch, I'm just using these two switches, just switch between the multiple camera views that I'm programming. So I'm just setting them to the next switch so I can start moving these around. I think we're going to try something from the other side now. So if I take, let me move this down. If I take this and start dragging it across this way, something like that. Let's bring it right down. So I'm basically just like looking for a good spot to do the feedback effect on. Something like this could be cool because you've got these movements here should be pretty dramatic in there. So let's try this one now, and also this little purple bit here should be nice. It's just not switching. Yeah. So like if I wanted to switch, I'm just setting up the positions right now. If I can switch. Yeah. Well, so like if I put these all to, so this is the first camera position. That's the first camera position. And go to 1 and 1. That's the second camera position. And then 2 and 2. This is the camera position I'm working on now. So I don't really know how I'm going to incorporate these as of yet. I think it's going to be like it'll switch to one of these positions randomly, and then it'll do the feedback effect that I'm about to trigger now, and then it'll move back to the moving camera or something like that. So let's just see how this camera position sort of works with the feedback. I have high hopes for these moving greens in the top corner. You can see the feedback coming in already. It's a good transition in, actually. These purples look really good over it, too. Oh, that's nice with the yellows in the top. That's really nice. Okay, awesome. I want to see how close this will get to the edge, because I do sort of want to get it all the way to the edge. And yep, we got it all the way to the edge, so that's perfect. All right, I like this one too. So we'll just do the transition out. These, honestly, they probably move a little too much because it like sort of ruins the effect in some places. But not too badly. I think it still looks pretty good. All right, let's do the transition out. I think in my artworks, I start tending towards just like more and more variation. Like I want an artwork with so much variation that it's just like completely different over multiple hours. I think this artwork's got the potential for that. Like there's going to be so many different like modes that it can go through with this one garden thing that it's going to be pretty interesting, I think. This transition out is looking good. And there, we fade it out. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to do a new one. Okay, for this one, I think we'll do like a top-down view. I want to really get like a lot of the reds in, so I'm going to put this... I'm going to reset my lookout to like right in the middle, so actually maybe in the middle, so 7.9 TZ, but then like 0 TY, 0 TX. And then let's bring this back into the middle. Oh, I gotta switch this over. Honestly, that's a sort of a cool view. Wait, I'm gonna save this one. Wait, why does this go in twice? Oh dear, what have I done? Disconnect that and disconnect that. Yeah, we've got our old view. Should be 2. And I plug in this into there. That into there. Then we go to 3. And this one should be 3. Okay, well I lost that other view that I was working on, but it's fine. So 0 out this in the TX. Put this to 7.9 in the TY. And then let's just move it up. Okay. So I definitely want to get all these like red flowers. So I'm going to move the lookout back a little bit. And then we'll bring us down a little bit too. I don't know, there's something about the perspective that I don't really like. Maybe I do want something like this. Just try this with we'll have the red in the top corner, the red down the bottom. Actually, let's just move it a little bit this way. Like that. Let's try that. Let that transition. That's nice. It comes in really nicely because it comes from like the top down. Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. Not quite as much movement in this one, but I mean, I think it's fine. Yep, we'll keep that one too. Let's do the transition out. Sometimes I'm sort of like of two minds about these in-out transitions. They don't look that good to me. Oh, this red up here looks great though. I feel like the out of this one doesn't look that good for some reason. But the in does, so it sort of makes up for it. Maybe I should do some like random generation ones. Just generate random. See if we get anything interesting. Okay, so let's put in two noises. I'm going to set these to be samples. 0 to 0. So this is a noise. T, X, T, Y, T, Z. Random. And what sort of ranges are we looking at? Let's go amplitude of 20. So now, if I just change the seed here, I just generate random values. So I'm going to grab another one of these. Into the switch. All right. Let's set it up properly. I'm going to do a pattern. I could keep one of these random ones in it, actually, but I think I set this to random non-repeating integers, 1, channels, chan 1, chan 2, and then range 0 to like 99. And then this gets exported to here. And this gets exported to here. All right, most of these are going to be trash, but we might find some cool ones. See, that could be cool. It probably won't be. I'm not going to try it, but actually that one might be cool. This might be a cool composition. Let's try it with the transition thing. Because you got a lot of this yellow here. You've got a good view of this tree. The transition is going to be like a little less because there's not much material in the background, but let's see what it does. Okay, transition starting to come in from the top here. It wasn't my favorite to start out with, but like the amount of yellows is really nice. The yellows make a really good looking thing. Like when they get those little black contrasty bits in them. Okay, I guess this one can stay. So I'm just gonna put in some nulls here. Not noise. Gonna lock these. Copy these. Lock these too. And get rid of these exports. Oop, let's not do that. And then this one. Cool. Maybe like one more random one. Yeah, this does look good. I like this. Kevin the cat has entered the room. He is currently around my legs. I don't know if he's going to come up onto my lap, or what he's going to do, or if he's just going to yell. So I apologize for his actions in advance. Okay, the transition out actually looks pretty cool here because you've got a lot of this purple bright stuff right with the yellow over it. That works nicely. Okay, so index 5. Now I'm just going to keep randomly triggering this. That'd make a good one. That wouldn't. That wouldn't. That might be good, but we've got something pretty close to it. I'd like to include this as an option to just have a random one in there, but so many of these are unusable. That'd be a cool one with all the green movement, but that could be cool. That could also be cool. Ugh. I've got so many already that I'm just looking for anything that just like really pops out. Something like that. Like we don't have anything except I just don't like this wire in it. That's actually the wire from the fence. It stops you getting into the garden. Seeing these random versions, I feel like it's telling me, well, showing me, not telling me, showing me that I've almost covered all the bases of like what is interesting to do with this. This one could be cool. Let's just try it. It's cool because it's so focused, but I'm concerned that there won't be enough in it to warrant it being its own view. Like it won't have enough material colors to function as a independent view. But I love that there's this like one flower right in the middle. I think that's super cool. All right, so as I thought, there is a lot of black, but this could be cool actually. I think it's quite good enough to make it. Gonna cancel it. Yeah, there's Kevin. Gonna see if he wants to come onto my lap. Is that what you want? Here's the Kevin. Does not want to be a lap cat. He's just gonna terrorize me for food. I don't know. I might save this one. It could be cool. I always know how to get back to it anyway, so it's fine. All right, let me try some different ones while this background is still fading out. That could be cool. Let's try this one. The problem about my feedback effect is it's like it goes really far into the background. So when it's like closer, like there's not much geometry in the background, it takes a while. Coming through sort of nice though. If this one works, I think this will be the last one, and then I can start doing more like. This one will be interesting because there's this leaf that's like really close to the screen. You said you didn't want to come up before. These reds are actually really interesting. I want to see that leaf come up. Yeah. All right. Maybe it's always going to be too close to be included in the feedback loop. I think this one can definitely stay. There's a good bunch of interesting colors, like these blues getting into it, and then yeah, it's nice. Okay, that's our last one. I'm gonna just lock this in. And detransition. I'm just going to build a random trigger. That's nice. That works really well. Okay, cool. Another pattern. Random non-repeating integers again. Length of 1. Now we have 5 options. So range is 0. Well, we actually have 6 options. Range is 0 to 5. Let's call this view. And then we can just export this to there, to there. And now we've got all our views. So if I hit randomize, we just get random selections of these views. Non-repeating selections. And looking at them now, I think we can probably have more of them, but cool. All right, let's go back to camera movement. Let's review where we're at with the camera movement. I'm going to leave this transition thing up here. So, this is what I don't like. So when we go back into the moving camera, there's going to be a blip here, a little blip. Yeah, that. I hate that. So the other way to switch between these is to use a cross. This will crossfade between 2 values. And I think this is going to be the only way to get the camera's position transition smooth. So this is going to be a little bit annoying to build, but what can you do? All right. So I don't know if there are going to be more camera movement modes, but I'm going to build it like they are going to be more, just so I know I can do it. So over here in my palette, I have, I should have a multi-crossfade. All right. So essentially what I want to make is a multi-crossfade, but with chops. Let's bring this big again. Chops instead of tops. See, I don't like that happening. It seems to only happen when I'm at the back too. So like we're now looking from the back of the garden bed outwards. It doesn't happen in the front of the garden bed for some reason. Actually, I can probably say why. It's because the Z, I allow it to go far further forward than backwards. Okay. Now all this architecture here I should be able to just convert this pretty easily. So what this does is it takes multiple video inputs and then allows me to crossfade between them. But just select one and index, because obviously you need to have these little switches that then go to multiple indexes. So I just got to replace all of these with chops and we're good. So I'm going to put in some inputs. So there are going to be 10 of them. So this is 1. So we've got 10 inputs going into 2 switches. So we put in switches. And then each of these 10 inputs is going to go into each of these switches. And then each of these nulls is going to control each of these switches. So this one, ooh, that's the index of there. And that's the index of there. I'm going to forget about the noise part, so we just need a cross. And these both go into the crossfade. And then what controls the cross? This fade control. So this goes into fade. And then and out. All right. This is got. All right, let's get rid of these inputs. Okay, let's test this. So we put in some constants. Let's go. 1 is going to be 0. 1 is going to be 3. 1 is going to be 12. Oh. This one's going to be 3. So one of these is going to go into 1, then 2, then 3. And a null. Change this to 5. Okay, so this is not working. Why is that? Oh, I think that, yeah, I have to change it to 0 then. Okay. So now if I only put in values between... That doesn't go all the way. Okay. I mean, that's basically all the way, but it's still not quite all the way. So if I go... I've got a crossfade of time of 5 seconds. Then I can go index 1. It should go to 12. Then an index of 2. It's going to go to 3. It's going to take 5 seconds to go each time. And then we can go back to 0. So my one question is why this doesn't crossfade all the way. That says 1. This cross says 0.9999. Okay. Hopefully those little numbers won't make a difference. Now, let me get rid of all these tops and clean this up because we're all good right now. And now, if I just go customize component, I don't need the fade type. Then I'm going to call this multi-crossfade underscore chop. And I'm going to save it in my palette in case I need it again. So let's test this out on our cameras. So we need 2 of them. And we don't need this stuff anymore. Can get rid of that cross. So this is going to be input 1. Input 1. And then this is going to be input 2. And input 2. And then we export these to here and here. And I think we just got to go 0 to 1 and 0 to 1. Did not like some of the artifacts I was seeing when that transition occurred, but okay. So we need another. Oh, we actually don't need another. Actually, we can do another one. Just because. Put an L at the end. And we're just going to export this to the index of each of these. And horror at this little bouncing thing that's going on. All right, is this a time slicing thing? Yeah, it is. God damn it. All right, so if we transition to camera mode 1, this should be to the stationary mode. Very nice. And it's the stationary mode to the moving mode that's more of the problem. So this is stationary mode. Go to moving mode. And that's good. Let's change these to Gaussian. And let's try that again. Camera mode to 1. Oh, that's a lot faster. We might want to go with like a 10-second. Gaussians always feels a bit faster because you spend a lot of the crossfade time like moving in and out. Like it has this ease in effect, but you end up spending a lot of your filter time in that ease in, so it feels faster when it's in the center. But yeah, all right. So still feels pretty fast. I'm gonna go 15. Actually 20. It doesn't really matter that if it takes too long. maybe even longer, maybe like 25. Because there are going to be some distances that are even longer than... Actually, let's go 30. See, now it starts moving real slowly. So it's going to be a huge bummer, the errors that occur with the time slicing. See, if I turn this on real time, it's going to start jumping like crazy. Like, oh god. And then when I turn time off, it doesn't. It's a massive bitch, but we can live with that. It's because it's losing like 1 frame every second, dropping like 1 or 2 frames per second. So it's like, yeah. All right, well, we fixed the camera transition problem, so that's good. All right. I'm going to leave this one for now because I'm getting a bit bored of it and I want to do something else because it's been an hour and a half just on this one artwork. I'm going to save this and we're going to do some audio reactive stuff. That'll be fun. Let me just open my audio computer. So yeah, we're gonna leave this. And I'm gonna switch. I've just got to stop all the notifications on my other computer. And quit a bunch of programs. Okay, switch to audio computer. Here we are in Ableton, and I'll show you my setup quickly over here. So I've got some like, I don't know if this audio is going to come through. Wait, let me try this. Why am I not seeing this come in? So what's going on here is, I should still have some audio. I should still have some audio. Anyway, I've got a distorted bass, which I can play. So yeah, there's this distorted bass and this like auto-tune vocals. Together sounds like this. Okay, you get the idea. So basically that's a little sample that I'll be working with. So the idea is to make some like audio reactive visuals to go along with that. So the idea will be that I can improvise live, play the keys, which will make that distorted synth kind of sound, and then I can do vocals on top of that, which will be that auto-tune thing, and then they're both gonna react to the sound. And so I've started building this, and if I switch over to Touchdesigner, here's the patch. So I'll what do I show? Yeah, I sort of hate what it looks like currently, but let me pulse this. Or I don't have that set up. Yeah, pulse that. So when I play this, the Touchdesigner reacts. So currently it's just reacting to the vocals. And so what I want to do is I want to make it react a lot better. And so I made this patch like a long time ago through a lot of trial and error, and I've never been able to build anything quite as good. So I'm going to go and reverse engineer that patch. If you are on my YouTube right now, you can check out Piano Paint with James Francis, which is on my YouTube channel. And it's a piano performance, and then there is this audio reactive thing that goes along with it, where we like mapped his synesthesia to the colors that come up are going to be the colors that he sees with his synesthesia, and then the audio is just reacting to the visual, just reacting to the audio. But it's a really, really cool one. So this is the patch. Just needed to grab it and pull it out here. Ooh. Okay. I don't need any of this. So I've got Touchdesigner and Ableton hooked up together using TD Ableton, which is great. You can find it in the palette here. If you go to TD Ableton, it has all the components you need to connect Touchdesigner and Ableton together. And in here, I've just got a few little things set up so I can get details of what's going on. So I'll play this. I'm gonna mute the output though. So this is Actually, no, I'm going to turn it up a bit. So, what you've got going on is, this is pitch detection on the voice. So, guessing what notes I'm singing and then sending that over. This is the actual amplitude, the level of what I'm singing. And then this is the level of the bass, which is not coming in for some reason. Oh, it's actually, no, it's a different instrument. I haven't mapped out the bass yet. Alright, so what I'm most interested in is this level. Because that's what I'm going to feed into here. So, in. And now it is already going. I don't know why. All right, I've got to make some changes here. I'm going to put in a select. And I really just want distro box level. That can go in there. Okay. So I'm just going to show you what this patch does to start off with, and then I'm going to start picking it apart, seeing what I can learn from how it's working. So if I start playing this, it should react to the vocals. It looks a bit hot right now. I'm gonna keep that down, the level down, because it's gonna get really annoying if we keep trying to like analyze it all the time. Well, if I just try and talk over it the whole time. So now I just want to see what's going on with this patch, see what I can learn from it, because I did it so long ago that I forgot what I did, and I think there are some things I can definitely improve. So obviously we have a circle here with a lagged version controlling its size. That's pretty straightforward. In here we're displacing it very slightly, so just making the edges a little bit fuzzy using this noise. This is a bit unnecessary, because I'm doing all this at 4K resolution. I don't really need to be doing that, but that's fine. Alright, so we've also got the brightness being controlled by, what I assume is, yeah, a lookup. So I spent a long time like mapping the values, dialing them in for this clearly. So that's cool. Alright, then we've got some interesting things happening. Alright, so first of all, we've got this level, and then we go into a difference. And what is in here? Okay, so I'm just taking the main version of it, transforming it, scaling it to be exact, and then doing a difference between, so that we've got this like this shape that moves. So that's just making the shape a little bit more complex. Then we're transforming it, like moving it around according in an audio reactive way to the level of the audio that's coming in. So the audio is coming in at like through here, going into this lookup, limited it to going through a math to bring it below 0. Then into a speed. This is a pretty common thing that I do. Go through a speed, and then that's looking up this movement pattern. Actually, that's an interesting way of doing it. So what you've got here is you've got this noise that's being transformed, but then I'm running it through a lookup. So the audio is looking up in this X direction while it's transforming, which means it has a pretty interesting path. Okay. Pretty straightforward. We then do optical flow. So optical flow is getting the motion vectors. Then the interesting thing is, what do I do with all of this optical flow? So in here, apparently I tried to speed up the feedback loop, but what we've basically got here is a tiny little feedback loop that is capturing the optical flow data and then propagating it backwards across, well, in time, so that you get like this trail left behind. So that's the optical flow data, and then it gets pushed backwards in time. Then we've got 2 outs. And then one of them is displacing this. So this is pretty interesting. We've got pretty sparse, like sparse noise over here in 4K. It's a very sparse noise. So I tried to do this, remake this, and I think one of the things I got wrong was not making this noise like really sparse enough, because it's very sparse noise. So displacing these by that transform, then multiplying. Okay. So this step is really important. This is what I sort of tried to do a different way. There's another way you can do this, is using a cache to only get the moving parts, but instead I just have a multiply so that this circle just runs over all this. That's really smart. He said, patting himself on the back. Okay, so what can we do with this? The first thing I want to do is alright, you can see what's happening with the color schemes here. You're just having a ramp displaced by a noise getting multiplied by the little colors. So That's cool, but it's not as cool as it could be because it's not reacting to the pitch. So if I take the pitch in here, I can start doing some interesting things rather than just using all these random color schemes. So I wonder, let's try something. So I'm going to put another input. Why did it go up there? Connector is going to be 1. And out here, I'm going to select the vocal MIDI, but not just the last velocity. A little star to select all the channels. Bring this in. So my idea is to build a ramp that is sort of holding the last 3 values or the last couple of notes. So I built this nice thing that means that I can map scales to different colors. So every degree in the scale can be a different color. And so I'm going to, let's put this into another, let's put down a null. Put this into a, collapse that into a base. We're going to call this color ramp. I'm always of two minds about this because, like, I don't know if too many people really notice, like, if one pitch is always the same color. Like, I mean, you tell me, drop it in the chat if you, like, would notice that all the, like, Bs, for example, are going to be the same color. So if I go out here, I already used this in this last one. Where is it? Event to RGB notes. So what I've got here is just a scale. So you go from C, all the possible 12 notes up to B, and then you can assign color values to each of them. And so I've already got a color scheme sort of picked out. Let me just pulse this. So what I want to do is sort of like average the last 3 notes. So if I maybe we'll just try putting a trail. I'm just going to try select. Oh, we should do this after here, because if I put this in here, if I select last note, so yeah, so now we can see the last notes coming through. And then I'm going to do a trail. And so one thing I can do with this, well, first of all, it's moving by too quickly. Like, I can't have a ramp with 251 different values. So I'm going to set the window length and samples to say, let's say 5. And going to put down a logic. So I want to get like the 5 last values, but then I only want to go through when the value changes. So wait, I'm just going to combine these channels with an OR. So now it should flash every time the note changes. And then I'm going to have this with a null. Exporting like this. See, that's what I want. Now I'm getting like the last 3 to 5 channels. And let's maybe go 10 because I get a lot of zeros coming through here. So I want to put in a delete. I want to delete samples. With the less than value of 0.1. So this is right, yeah. So I'm sort of cutting down my 10 channels to about 5 or 6. That's good. So now we want to get these into a ramp format. So this is a ramp, and ramps are fed by these DATs. So we need to get our data into this kind of format. And so I'll show you what it looks like. 2, 3, we add some colors. Add some random values to these colors. A cool color scheme anyway. But so we need to make a, I'm going to turn this off if it's still in the background. We need to make a ramp, a table that looks like this out of this. So we're going to go with a dat2. Oh no, a chop2. So there's our color values, which is fine. But now we need to add our pos channel and our A channel. So the A channel is going to be easy. We're just going to go with a insert. Wait, what am I doing? Yeah, insert. One column after last. Contents is going to be 1. Right. So now we're going to have ones added. Okay, and now we need to insert another channel. So let's get rid of this. And so this is going to be the pos channel. And we want these colors to be sort of evenly spread across the channel. So what we need to do is we need to make a ramp. So let's put in a pattern. I'm going to do this a slow way because I can't be bothered looking up the Python to do this. So going to make a ramp from range 0 to 1. And the actual length is going to be that. I'm going to add another chop 2. So as you can see, this is giving us all the steps in between. So it's always going to be evenly dividing how many samples there are between 0 and 1. And we don't need this second insert because we're doing it a different way. So we just need a merge. And I want to append columns, but I want to switch the order. So now we're starting to get a table that looks like this table. The only thing we now need is the titles for each of the boxes. And so that's going to be another insert. And so we know what we need. Pos, RGB, A. And now we have a table that looks exactly like this table, and so it can drive a ramp. I'm going to put in a new ramp. It's going to go up here and see what we've got. These are the color schemes that I was using. So they're all horizontal ramps from 0 to 1. That's pretty straightforward. So we're going to have a 4K ramp. And then let's just put a null dat at the end to be nice. Let's go ramp 2 keys. All right. So now you can see all the different colors based on the notes that we've been having heard. Let's just make this different blend mode. So I might just cut down the number actually a little bit. If we make this trail length maybe 8. I want it moving through, like because when the blues come on, I want them to almost fill the screen. Yeah, like that. And so if we plug this into the color scheme, this is going to go in here. Let me turn up the soundtrack again so you can hear. See how this is looking. Okay, so that's working quite nicely. We've now got the color scheme unified, moving with the notes, though I don't know if anybody really notices that much. But yeah, I mean, maybe if I made it a bit more colorful. Wonder which colors aren't really coming through. I think we're seeing most of them. This dark blue for the bees should be a lot more of that. I don't know why we're not getting too many of that. We're getting that lighter blue with the F sharp, which I like. But then just like a lot of this C sharp and G sharp stuff, which is cool. But I've sort of already done artworks that look like this, so I don't really need to make another one that looks the same as all the others. So I'm going to leave this playing and then start tweaking some things and see what we can get that's maybe a bit more interesting. But I'm gonna mute this because it'll get really annoying. And then we're gonna try and move on to including the bass synth. But first of all, let's jump over to the canvas. And I might even just start with a new canvas because I don't really want to deal with all this. All right, let's forget about that canvas. Let's make a new canvas. Let's put down a null. And a second null. Collapse these. Let's call this messy canvas underscore v2. And we can stop looking at this because we're jumping in here. We're going to be using this. So let's put a null at the end that we can view. Just like that. All right, so now I can see what we've got coming in. Just gonna start working. So there are two ways we could do this. I'm going to try and do a more glitchy kind of version of this thing. So if we put in a feedback loop, we 32-bit float. Oh no, let's just put in a res here. Go to 32-bit float. Always good to work with 32-bit floats for feedback loops. It just looks better. So this is what we've got going on, which is basically the same as the other one, and the other one just does a little displacement thing at the end. But I think we can probably do a bit better than this. First thing I'm going to do is put in a keyboard in. And this is gonna reset. Wait, no, I want this to be keyboard 2, key 2. I sort of like this color scheme actually. It's looking good. So now I can pulse the feedback loop like that, and it'll restart. Got a good bit of blue in there. That was good. There should be the most blue because it's like the note that you hear the most, but Who knows? Also, I just had a cool idea for like a background that could be really cool. So I want to try that. So what I want to do is I want to put in a null. Call this, I'll collapse it first. Post effects. Put in and out. And another null. We're going to view this null now. So thinking could be cool is if we have some kind of like background. I'm going to make it influenced by the base once I bring that MIDI in. But right now, if we have like a crop that's like taking 50% off the top. Let's do it exactly. Then we have like a transform. Let's do okay, let's do a fit. So we've cropped halfway. Gonna go back over a 3840 by 2160 like that. And fit's gonna be native resolution. Oh, I hate that you can't do like alignment in this. All right, we're gonna do it a different way. I'll show you why. I want a constant that is go over. This is going to go over that. And go native resolution again. But see, now I can go justify horizontal and justify vertical. So I want to go justify horizontal to top. We'll go transform. So taking a slice through it. Now I want to transform down 0.5. So we still got it in there. But then I want to send the tile to hold. So we're getting this like interesting effect. Then I want to composite this over this. And like I said, I want to composite this over this. That was honestly cooler in my head, but nah, no, it wasn't. Look at that. That's sick. What do you mean cooler in my head? It just doesn't look as good when it gets like fully together. Yeah, this is nice. In fact, the bass could be the one that triggers these little glitched out parts. That could be really cool. Or not. let's get back to the canvas. Now that we've got this, I want the canvas to basically move in an interesting way. So I'm going to put in a displace. See, this is weird because this is... How did I get this to be normal? I just put it over gray. Okay. But wait, should I use the green channel, right? Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I just got to put in a transform. Because when you're doing displace things, 0.5, 0.05, 0.5 is going to be your like non-displaced, and everything else is going to be displacing. So if I bring this in here, now it's displacing like crazy, which obviously we don't want. And we've got to set this to green too. So let's try out the feedback loop just with this displace. That is too much, probably. Makes for some pretty cool effects though. Oh, that could be really cool. Look at that. Oh, I forgot I'm not playing here. Okay, that's much cooler than I thought it'd be. It looks like a paint simulation. And you know, I could add a little bit of velocity to it too. Right, let me turn off that background because it's going to be a bit distracting, isn't it? Wonder if we put just a little level. Okay, so the one thing I don't like is, let me see it do it. Yeah, this, when it does these little cells, they don't look very good. It makes for such a marbly kind of look. I know this is going to ruin the effect, but I just really quickly want to try it. So let's go nearest pixel. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it makes a pretty cool effect. Oh, that looks fucking cool. I need some light in here. Let me get 1 second, let me turn the light on. I'll turn this music up so you can have a quick listen to how it's sounding. It's better. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that so far. That's looking pretty cool. I might go back to our interpolate pixels for a second. It just gets slightly too blurry with interpolate pixels. Like, maybe not. I think that'd be really cool with some like neon-ass colors. Let's try to add a little velocity. I think some velocity would be really cool. So what we want to do is we want to put a feedback loop in. In here. Let's collapse these. Call this velocity feedback. So, make a feedback loop. And then we're just going to displace this is going to keep the velocity a bit longer. It's going to keep it perpetually, actually. Then we're just going to do that like transform. Put this over gray again. And then we're going to displace itself by itself. We might have to blur it or something in a bit, but right now this is going to work. It's just these spots. These spots I do not like very much. Rest of it, perfect. Those spots, not so good. It's giving like resin vibes, maybe. All right. Chuck this in here. Really slow. See, now you get more of that, like, rippling effect. It sort of waits around longer. I think we could add a bit more of this even. Oh, I haven't even closed the feedback loop. I just displaced that. Okay, this is gonna... Whoa. Okay, yeah, way too much. We need to put in a level. Make this fade away. Try that much. It's also way too much. Like blasts the color off screen, and yeah, it's too much. If we put in a blur here. What we can also do is put in a limit. Let me just see so we can analyze what's coming in. What? Oops. If we analyze this and go maximum pixel, and let's go display pixel values. So this is all staying in, like, so we're looking at these red and green values. And 0.2 is the highest that I'm seeing. Actually, let's just do it this way. It's a bit hard to see like that. Let's do a trail. So yeah, the maximum values we're hitting is about like 0.5. See, we're hitting some 0.6s, but so what we can do, first of all, let's come out of there and into there. And then we're going to go clamp negative 0.5, 0.5. Still a bit much, I think. Let's try breaking it up more with the displace. Oh, it's not clamping the maximum. These little experiments are not doing well. happens if we put the blur in the feedback loop? Yeah. I think it was probably just looking better before. Might be cool to dither this blur. Let me make this all nearest pixel. You see the blur dithering that's making that little effect? That is nice. But in the end, I think none of this has really made it any better. I think it's best when we just have this. Yeah, that's better. I always wondered if you did like a little cache in there. Oh, I could feedback. Oh no. Let's put the cache in the main feedback loop. So cache takes the output, like, we'll go 5 back, and then we're going to crossfade it in. That's crazy. So let's have a little bit of this cache coming in. Needs to be way further back. That's sort of cool. I mean, you'd want the main feedback loop on top of it, but it gets very blurry like this though. Oh, and that's the hard thing. It's really hard to reset it. So it could be some cool with like an actual delay, like in the voice or something. Like there's an actual delay going, which makes it heaps blurry. Which makes me wonder if I did nearest pixel, if I could make this not blend so much. That's funny because nearest pixel should. Is it this guy? Or this guy? You can like bring in a bit of the cache and then like it just blurs it so much. I hate that. It does make really nice blurs though, so that's something it's got going for it. I don't think I like the cache though. Oh, I wonder if it's not blended. It's just like, all right, going in like that. Jesus. Wait, this is gonna be a little bit mental, but. What if we did like a second feedback loop after the first one? This is like getting way out of the audio reactive part of it, but could be cool. Let me reset this. And then reset this. But then unreset this. I like that repeating nature of things. It might be cool. If you could do just like really staccato, like just like single little vowels instead of these longer like da, cha. And what would be really crazy if we then did optical flow. Bring this guy in. And so this is a component that I built. Optical flow trail does a little optical flow effect on the whole thing. And then it like sort of picks up the optical flow. I mean, we don't need it building up so much. It's going to be crazy as it is. Usually have to put like a limit on here because it's like a bit too crazy, so you gotta like clamp it. 0 to 1. Bring this in. Didn't get quite as crazy as I thought. Let's make it get crazier. So it just turns it into a whole like pointillistic type deal. Okay, let's reset. So I designed this for like using with brushes. So it has this thing that gets rid of the input. So I can get rid of that. We don't need that. All right, I think that's enough use of that for now. I can get rid of this cache. Not doing anyone any good anyway. But anyway, what I wanted to do, we don't need this second feedback loop anymore, I don't think. So with this one, what I thought would be cool is if we could do the optical flow trail, but we do it on this input. And then we replace it, because like there's these little extra bits that keep getting added, like these little explosions and stuff. And this is not capturing them in the optical flow. It's a very like basic optical flow here. So it'd be cooler if there's little like flashes. So I want to reactivate this. I like this displace as it is, so I'm gonna leave that one and put a new displace in. But what I'm gonna do is I'm going to bypass this. So now this is gonna be the new displace. Oh, I shouldn't have deleted that limit. I need it. Clamp 0. All right, but this can build up a bit more. And this has got to be green. Put that in the feedback loop. And all right, let's go. Displace weight. So non-dramatic. It's a bit lame. Honestly, it's a bit lame. All right, let's fuck with this a bit and make this last a lot longer. Oh, it cuts things up like crazy. Okay. Because it's really PC. I can see that. That's why I must have used the other option. All right. Change this to nearest pixel. It's making some interesting little details. I wonder if we have to blur this a bit. How's our frame rate? Yeah, fine. That's interesting. I wonder if we combine the two. Try that. Yeah, that's not really that great. It's funny, sometimes like the best idea is the first idea, which is yeah, that's not really that great. Just fine, I guess. Okay. All right. Well, get rid of this. Yeah, see, this just looks so much better. How's this look with my little background thing? I love how it's sort of like that transparency is, oh, it's sick. No, I like this. I like this a lot. Wait, I want to see if I can like improv with it. I'm going to turn the mic. Wait, I'm not going to mute the microphone yet. Let's stop this playing. Turn this back up. Get rid of that delay. Get rid of that. I still got my auto tune on. Okay, that's looking pretty cool. Sounding pretty cool. And I'm just gonna. I don't know what I'm gonna do next. That's a good question. How late is it? Am I gonna do something with my evening? Let's see. I'm gonna put this on in the background. Okay, let's get back into it. I think I can probably make some interesting changes to the brush itself. I want to see what I can do in that department, because the way the brush works is basically exactly the same as the. Well, let me just get this closer. The way the brush works now is basically exactly the same as the way it worked before. So I feel like there's a bit more that can be done there. So I'm going to make a copy. The other thing I might want to do is try and do something with the bass. Bass. Let's put, why is this around this way? It sure is. I do not. Pixel Pusher? I was like, I'm not going to try and pronounce your name, but you actually got a very easy name to pronounce. Yeah. SM7B. I've just got it like dual. I've got two like there's an XLR splitter coming out of it. One's going into the streaming, and then one's going into the my audio computer. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. One of Michael Jackson's favorite microphones, I think. All right, I'm gonna get rid of this displace, and let's just replay this. I'm gonna mute this again, and let's see what we can do with the brush, make it a bit more interesting. I think this is working quite well. I wonder. Just trying to think what options I have to make this like a bit more interesting. I can always try upping the complexity. Can I? Yeah, reset that. Okay. So if we add some even more harmonics to this, what does that start to look like? That's interesting. You get little like blurred out bits. I'm going to turn these post effects off again. Problem about this is that you're going to get the same kind of look, right? Every time it's going to be this kind of look. So what can we do to make it like even more interesting? There's a lot we could do with like drips, like make the whole thing drip. We have the maximum harmonics we can really have right now. Wonder what happens if we bring the, oh god, the exponent down. Make this more like standard noise. If we bring the amplitude down. Offset back up. Whoa, okay, no, too much. Yeah, what if we do something like this? Get a bit more of a like a ghostly kind of a style. That's cool. Let's see what it looks like with the displacement back in there. Doesn't really do much. I think I prefer it without the displacement, honestly. Makes for a more interesting look, I think. Can try like messing it up more in here. This is a problem. It starts to get just looking like noise. That's far too displaced. I wonder if this one goes crazy on the like this is what usually happens when I try to like remake this patch and it just doesn't look that good. I'll try it with a displace anyway, but I think this is a bit of a dead end. Bring that in. I bet the displace is wild too. Yeah, it's pretty wild looking. Yeah, see, that looks like trash. I hate this look. This looks terrible. Sorry, I'm sorry if you like that look, but I hate it so much. Ugh. All right. One more attempt with this. If we go back to the really harsh, it was an amplitude of 2. Something like that. Or even bring the harmonics back down. See, the problem with this one is it doesn't create small motions, right? Everything is like really big. And it just looks like one big mess. All right, we hate this. Like even this is like it's more displaced. It's just not. You just need like the slightest bit of displacement, and it makes it look so much better. All right, there's not much more I can really think to do with this. Like I've got a bajillion like canvas things that you could do with it, but you know what might be cool is if we had this like. Let's go back to our post-processing. Maybe the base could actually. Here, let's try this. So we have this base, right? Let me bring this back up. Actually, I like it blended. Oh, actually, maybe there's a better way if I change this to composite. Maybe like divide. But maybe like maximum or chroma difference. No. Or screen. I feel like I want something that darkens average. Yeah, something like this where it's like darkening what's going on. That's sort of cool. Burn color in reverse. Go darker color. Yeah, but I still want to see it in the background is the thing. I have no clue what Y film and Z film do. Oh my god. Nothing good. Alright, let's change it back to over. It's fine. Let's do this, the preview grid. See if there's anything that looks cool. It isn't really. I mean, maybe if you go, what's difference look like? Difference always just ends up looking like difference. Like, that's the problem. It's a really useful tool, but like, it's not bad. That's legitimately sort of cool. What I was going to say is that what we can do is, if I have a noise, let's go like time slice. It's going to be a method to my madness soon. Let's go like 30. So what I'm saying is the crop top. So you set it to different parts. And then I think you got to go like 1 minus. Nope. Or is it just negative? Oh, this is not what I intended. So minus 0.5. I'm going to put in the math. So 0.5 to 1 to, if it's at 1, it's doing no cropping, so minus 0.5. Not another math. Better null. Now, I've done the wrong math somewhere. Now it's right? Yeah, I think so. I think that's doing what I thought it should do. It just starts looking way too digital when... Let's reset this. The difference just makes it look way too digital. Yeah, I hate when you get these like blues coming through. Let's just undo that. Change this to over. Yeah, ultimately that looks better. But now you've got it moving like up and down, right? confused as to why this one doesn't get stretched. Oh, because there's black space below it. I getcha. We can make this go all the way though. 0.5. 0.5. Now to go all the way to the bottom. Could be a bit brighter. All right, I think my brain is going to turn to mush if I keep doing this. So I think I'm going to end it there for today. Thank you everyone for joining in. I might be back later. I don't have any idea if I will be, but I might be. And maybe we just listen through the final product once real quick. And that's all I got. Obviously, I need this background to not keep doing this. It's like a bit annoying. But yeah, might be back later. But thank you all for tuning in. It's been a great stream.